Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Becky Burns, and my pronouns are she or they. I'm a member here at this congregation, and I volunteer as a worship associate, helping our ministers to lead our services. Today, I'm joined by one of our co-senior ministers, Reverend Kelly Asprooth-Jackson, and by the worship team of Linda Warren, Drew Collins, Stephen Gregorius, and Daniel Carnes. A thank you to all of those volunteering in many roles today. A sincere thank you to all those volunteering in many roles today as greeters, ushers, hospitality providers, lay ministers, and sound technicians. Your work makes our time of worship possible. Here at FUS, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you're visiting us today, welcome. We're so very glad that you are here with us. And if you'd like more information about First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table located in the Commons. We hope that everyone will be able to stay after our service for the coffee hour, also available in the Commons. Today, our new family coffee hour begins. Parents and guardians of kids and youth are invited to grab some coffee and bring it to the Gabler living room from 10 to 11 for snacks, activities, and connection. And for those of you connecting with us virtually today, we are glad you are with us as well. And we hope that you'll be able to take a moment and watch the announcements slides after today's service to learn more about upcoming programs and activities. The FUS Musicals, our Friday afternoon free concert series held in the Landmark Auditorium, begins this coming Friday, October 3rd. Presentations run from 12:15 to 1 and feature predominantly classical musicians, as well as folk, jazz, and musical theater presentations. The series runs most Fridays from October through April, and more details are available on the FUS website. Now we have a special announcement from Barb Avery on behalf of our volunteer task force.
Good morning. As Kelly said, I'm here to talk to you about our new hospitality service team. At First Unitarian Society, hospitality is more than a task. It's a heartfelt expression of our shared values. When we care for one another and extend a warm welcome to all who walk through our doors, we embody the spirit of connection that defines our community. Last week, we shared with you an invitation to deepen that spirit by joining our hospitality service team, a group of caring individuals who help bring our mission of engagement and connection to life by serving as greeters, ushers, or coffee servers. If we have a pool of 70 people or so, we are confident that we can fill the nearly 500 slots available between now and the end of May. To that end, 30 good souls have already signed up. To each of you, thank you. Your commitment and your presence make a difference to all of us. Now, we're hoping to add at least another 40 people to our team. We can do this if we get your help. With your service twice a month or just a few times a year, your willingness to greet newcomers, offer a warm smile, usher, or serve coffee helps create a space of belonging and love. It's also a great way to get others and to know others and grow your own sense of connection at FUS. We'll offer several opportunities for training, and Alice Delaquest, our hospitality team coordinator for Sunday services, will be there to support you every step of the way. Alice, would you give a wave so people can connect a name? To sign up, you can fill out the form on the FUS website, click the link in the red floors, or visit me or Alice in the Commons after this service. We'll be happy to answer your questions, help you sign up, or share a QR code for getting to the form. Together, let's continue to make First Unitarian Society a place where everyone feels seen, supported, and welcomed. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. And now we'll hear from Dork Bergen about our ministerial review.
Good morning. Oh, I was told not to touch the microphone. Okay. My name is Dorrit Bergen, and my pronouns are she and her. Our Board of Trustees appointed Ed Zappala, Brian Rainey, and me to a task force to conduct a ministerial review survey. And they directed us to look at two questions. First of all, how do we feel after we've had 3 or 4 years of a co-senior ministry model? How do we feel it's going? Secondly, how do we feel we are sharing in ministry, ministering to each other? We have developed a 1-page short survey, and we are hoping that as many of you as possible will fill it out. We are sharing a table with Alice in the back. They have a QR code, and so do we. So read the name of it, please. There's also a link in the red floors where you can fill out the survey, and we do have some paper copies. This is the last time I will come and harass you about this, and we really hope to get as many people as possible to give us feedback. Thank you.
And now we have one final special announcement from Reverend Kelly.
Hi. If you were here for the service last week, or if you watched it online, then you may recall that there is a climate march here in Madison this afternoon. It's going to run from roughly noon to 4 is what the official publicity tells me. The march is supposed to start around 1 p.m. I am going to be there. Members of your climate action team are going to be there. Perhaps you would like to be there as well. So I'll be leaving here immediately after the 11 o'clock service. We'll be headed down to the Library Mall. The march is from there to the Capitol. If you would like to join us, but you won't be here after the 11 o'clock service, you're already here from the 9, I understand. That makes sense to me. You can meet us at our rally point on the Library Mall, at the big flagpole there. It's an important reason to come out in public and raise our voice and be heard in support of a more just and sustainable climate future, and the importance of valuing real science in our public policy. If you can be, I hope you'll join us. Thanks.
And now I invite you to join me in a moment of silence to center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this place and time as we join again, once again in community. Come in from the margins, come into our circle. Here, we stretch wide a doorway of belonging.
Belonging is not a place, but a promise to see one another as worthy, to offer space for each soul to be its full self. In the words of William Ellery Channing, the great end of life is not happiness, but to feel worthy of happiness.
No need to polish your edges or hush your truth. We gather not in sameness, but in shared seeking.
Belonging comes out of our feelings of being worthy and seeing the worth in each person, worth in each moment we share, and worth in the community we build together. May we nurture a space where all are seen, heard, and valued, and may we continue the work of building a beloved and inclusive community.
Take a breath. Set down what you carry. You are welcome, wholly and wildly, in this place.
And now I invite you to rise in all the ways that we do, and to join me in the words of aspiration for the kindling of our chalice flame. We light this flame for the spiritual discipline that holds us together. Love, teaching compassion, seeking understanding, calling us to nurture and protect, measuring the rightness of our actions and choices. Love is the center of all we hold dear. And now I invite you to reach out to those around you and greet each other with signs of love and peace.
Good morning. Let's remain standing as we sing our opening hymn, number 360. Here we have gathered, verses 1 and 3. Well, now is the time when I invite forward anybody who would like to come up and join me for a story today. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. So usually, I think most often, when I tell you a story, it is a story that is one way or another from a long time ago. Do you think that's usually true? Have that estimate pretty right? Yeah, I think it works out. Today's story is not from a long time ago. It's like a contemporary story, which is the big word for something that happened or could happen right about now. And usually when I tell you a story, I try to tell you where the story comes from, what group of people, what community, what tradition or culture it originates with. Do you know why I do that? Anybody have a thought about why I bother to tell you those things? Yeah. So we know where the story is from. Absolutely. I want you to know where the story is from. Thea. Yeah, giving you the context, the place, or the people, gives you the opportunity to maybe imagine it a little bit more accurately. These are really good answers. My additional answer is because I want you to know the place, the people that a story comes from, because it really, in some sense, belongs to them, first and foremost. I want to credit the people who came up with this story. It's their story. I'm just telling it. So, today's story is a contemporary story, and I very honestly don't know who told it first. I tried to figure it out. I can't always figure it out. All the places I looked where I could find this story, nobody even said where they thought it was from. It is the case that when I looked around, the most common place that I found it was from various Jewish storytellers. Okay. And the second most common, you know what the second most common place where I found this story? From Unitarian Universalists. So maybe it's one of those, I don't know. But I thought it was worth telling it to you. So here it goes. Remember, it's a story about now, right? So we begin with a father sitting in a chair in the living room reading the newspaper. Okay, so maybe it's not that contemporary. But if this setting is not familiar to you, maybe ask your parents. They have the context for it, I'm sure of it. So the father is reading the newspaper, and there is a small child, somewhere about here, who is much more interested in talking to the father, interacting with the father, maybe pestering the father, than in doing something else. So the father is trying to read the newspaper, the child is trying to interact with the father, and the father would like to do something about this. Can anybody relate to this part of the story? I see some hands from some of the young people. I see some hands from some of the adults. Okay, it's a little bit familiar. So the father thinks, I have a wonderful idea. On one page of the newspaper, there's a whole big picture of the whole world. It's a map of the whole world. Young child, not yet that familiar with what a map of the world looks like. Great opportunity to teach an important informational lesson. He takes out the page with the big picture of the world on it, and he tears it up into small pieces. All right, now, here you go. Here is a map of the world. It's all torn up into little pieces. I need you to put this back together for me. Then he goes back to reading the newspaper. He thinks, aha, I've bought myself some time. But barely a minute later, what happens? Dad, I'm done. I put the world back together. So the father puts down the newspaper, looks at the carpet in front of him, and indeed, there is the map of the world, all perfectly assembled. The child must be a genius. They're a prodigy, right? They've done this with no apparent instruction. He thought it was going to take a lot longer than this. He said, how did you do it? How did you put the world all back together again? And she said, well, on the other side of the paper. He put the pieces together, exactly. Because on the other side of the paper, there was a picture of a person. And I know what a person looks like. So when I put the person back together, I put the world back together too. And that is sometimes the way that it is. It can feel like such a big, hard thing, rightly so, to put the world back together. Well, thankfully, it was just a picture and not a real person that was torn up into little pieces. No, I mean, that's good. I much prefer the first one to the second. My goodness. But when you put a person back together, it's like putting the whole world back together. Okay. Thank you for listening to my story.
Let's sing our kids on the way to their classes. Oh, you can make the world so bright, and you can turn the invite you to once again rise in body and/or in spirit so we can sing the hymn number 1002 in the teal hymnal, Comfort Me. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me, oh my soul. March with me. March with me. March with me. March with me, oh my soul. March with me. March with me. March with me, oh my soul. One more time, comfort me. Comfort me. Comfort me. Comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me. Comfort me. Comfort me, oh my soul.
Our inspiration today is from Rod Richards. It's all very well to speak of the interdependent web of life and remind us that we are all connected. We are. But there are times when the loneliness strikes so deeply that the only thing which I am certain is that I am a solitary being. There are times when the only piece of belonging I can feel is the longing. There are times when the interdependent web feels like just a mess of cobwebs in a basement or in an attic of an abandoned house where I live. Times when the spirit of life and love are just words written in invisible ink on a postcard to myself. Wish you were here. Be with me now. Don't try and talk me out of how I feel with perfect theology. Stay beside me and carry my hope until I'm ready to hold it again, and be there for you.
I want to talk with you today about belonging, the purpose for which this congregation and all others like it exist, and the means by which this and all other such spiritual communities persist. Do not mean that providing belonging to people is the only reason that FUS is here, or even that it is a sufficient reason by itself for us to keep going. But I do mean that it is an inescapably necessary cause for congregational life. And however great and glorious the other purposes we articulate,
however courageous the action, or unapologetic the love. Amen. No. No congregation which fails to offer, to build, and to renew a sense of belonging for at least some of the people who pass through its doors can hope to endure. So belonging is at the core of why we are even together right now. And it's the topic that I want to focus on with you for just the next little while. And to do that, I have to start, of course, with being alone. Have you ever been alone? I don't mean, have you ever been by yourself? I mean, have you ever been lonesome? Have you ever felt acutely and painfully aware of your separateness, unhappily conscious of an isolation from the rest of the human family? I have. Like many of us, I can ascribe that feeling to particular times and experiences in my life that come under big, clear headings. Headings like middle school or divorce. For others of us, that feeling isn't just a part of a time of life. It is life. It's the baseline. But whatever the case, all real connection with others passes through our awareness of our separation from them. As the Irish poet David Whyte put it, loneliness is the substrate and the foundation of belonging, the gravitational field that draws us home, and in the beautiful essence of its isolation, the hand reaching out for togetherness. To allow ourselves to feel fully alone is to allow ourselves to understand the particular nature of our solitary incarnation. To make aloneness a friend is to apprentice ourselves to the foundation from which we make our invitation to others. To feel alone is to face the truth of our irredeemable and unutterable singularity, but a singularity that can kiss, can create a conversation, make a vow, or forge a shared life. In the world or community, this essential singularity joins with others through vision, intellect, and ideas to make a society. As hard as loneliness is, it is from the experience of it, from our awareness of how painful isolation can feel, that we most authentically learn to reach out to others. Perhaps out of a sort of desperation sometimes, like a drowning person grasping at a bit of flotsam passing by. But at other times, it's not because we want for connection ourselves, only that we recognize how withering it can be to go without it. We learn how to companion others, in part, through the companionship that we wish we had received, but did not. And that may not be a product of social or physical isolation at all. The author and teacher of writing, Kim Culbertson, says that people think being alone makes you lonely. But I don't think that's true. Being surrounded by the wrong people is the loneliest thing in the world. Being surrounded by the wrong people is a very real danger in this profoundly lonely era for our society. Much of our collective cultural and political reality is being shaped today by movements and groups who offer a sense of belonging at the price of conformity, and specifically conforming to hierarchy where some people have value and some people do not. And difference cannot be tolerated. Such radicalization in the areas of both religion and politics is likely at least slightly familiar to you. So let me offer an example of the inverse instead. The high school that I attended was weird. It was a very small alternative public school. Most of its classes were interdisciplinary. Students were encouraged and sometimes required to pursue their own curiosities and projects. And the prevailing attitude was one of tolerance and acceptance for young people who often hadn't fit in well in other settings. It was a weird school, so it attracted weird people, myself included. And one of my favorite manifestations of this was, and I should say still is, the school is still going strong today, the visual image of graduation each year. In addition to receiving their diploma, each graduating senior was given a few minutes to speak to the assembly about whatever they wanted to. And there was no uniform for the occasion. Caps and gowns were not required. When I graduated, I wore a white linen suit with just huge bell bottoms that I had found at the back of my father's closet, and a white Panama hat that someone said made me look like Tom Wolfe. Other people dressed up in their own way, or they dressed down entirely, intentionally wanting to treat their own completion of high school as just another day. But even though there was no mandate for standard academic graduation garb, there were always those in every class who chose to use their freedom to follow the norm. In my year, it was roughly evenly split between people wearing academic gowns and people wearing anything and everything but. I am grateful to the teacher who taught me an important lesson about belonging based on this ceremony. He said that he hoped that every future graduation would have a roughly similar split between the conformists and the nonconformists. If there were ever too many robes in the crowd, it would start to look like any other school, every other school. The sense that students really could be who they were and show it proudly as they graduated could be so easily lost. But if there were no gowns at all, even if there were just too few to form a critical mass, that would be a sign that we had become more about the performance of nonconformity rather than authentically celebrating each individual. There will always be some students for whom the gown and cap have profound meaning. A symbol of accomplishment, a sense of continuity with previous generations, or of discontinuity, of breaking a cycle, standing out in their family or in their neighborhood just by earning a high school diploma. In order to feel like you truly belong somewhere, there has to be somebody else there who feels like you. Not necessarily being just the same in every respect, but someone who seems similar enough in some important way that you don't feel like you're always the odd one out. The author and teacher Brené Brown says, "True belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being a part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are." That strength sometimes seems to come from within us, and sometimes it is brought fully to us by someone or some force beyond ourselves. Here is one example of the second from the Buddhist tradition. One of the students who followed the Buddha during his time of teaching after attaining enlightenment was a man named Sunita. Sunita was a Dalit, that category of person in the traditional Indian caste system that is usually translated as untouchable. Sunita and his family had been assigned for untold generations to work that was considered unclean. In his case, his job was to make fertilizer by collecting and processing human waste. The caste system then, and in some cases still today in India, created a strict social hierarchy that was certainly about power, but not only power. Those on the bottom, like Sunita, were expected to show deep honor and respect to those above them, while being ignored or just as often treated with contempt in return. I know that we do not have a formal caste system here and now in this time and place, but as you consider Sunita's experience, I hope that you will also look within and around you at the world we share. Who are the people who, by dint of the work they do, or the lives they lead, or something as irrelevant to their character as their ancestry, are expected in our society to offer humility while receiving contempt and to persist on the margins of our social structure? So anyway, one day, Sunita saw the Buddha and some of his students approaching in their simple, brightly colored robes. He knew that these were holy people, and he was ashamed of his own spiritual uncleanliness. Not wishing to offend them, he left the road, and he went down towards the river nearby to wait for them to pass. But the Buddha had seen him, and he led the crowd down from the road towards Sunita. The poor man had nowhere else to go with his back to the river now, so he stepped into it and waded up to his knees and stood there in a pose of reverence and submission, hoping that they would turn around and go. When the Buddha greeted him from the riverbank and invited him to come and to join them, to study with him and his students, Sunita warned him about what he was, of the spiritual pollution that would come from even touching his skin. That is a difference we no longer recognize, the Buddha explained. Their community, their Sangha, to use the word that he would have used and that Buddhists still use today, was like the ocean. Many different rivers come together to feed the ocean, but once they join, their waters are no longer differentiated. They become a part of the whole, none of them more so, and none of them less. Though he was still confused and hesitant, Sunita accepted a place among the Buddha's students. The Buddha himself washed Sunita in the river in preparation for his ordination as a monk. Strangers watched and whispered about what the Buddha had done, and it caused him and the Sangha much trouble. Many people did not like that they were disrupting the order of things. But Sunita was not the only Dalit to ever become a student of the Buddha. He was simply the first. His initiation opened the doorway to all the others who would come after. Olivia Lang, the British author, wrote in her recent book, The Lonely City. I don't believe the cure for loneliness is meeting someone. Not necessarily. I think it's about two things: learning how to befriend yourself and understanding that many of the things that seem to afflict us as individuals are in fact a result of larger forces of stigma and exclusion, which can and should be resisted. Loneliness is personal and it is also political. Loneliness is collective. It is a city. As to how to inhabit it, there are no rules, and nor is there any need to feel shame, only to remember that the pursuit of individual happiness does not trump or excuse our obligations to each other. We are in this together, this accumulation of scars, this world of objects, this physical and temporary heaven that so often takes on the countenance of hell. What matters is kindness. What matters is solidarity. What matters is staying alert, staying open, because if we know anything from what has gone before us, it is that the time for feeling will not last. Now, as to the matter of loneliness and belonging here, in this place that we share, I turn first to the words of William Ellery Channing, the Boston clergyman often credited as the grandfather of American Unitarianism. He said of the congregation that he led, whose descendant church I very briefly worked at many years ago, "This is a church from which no one is excluded except as he excludes himself." The irony in the non-inclusive language here must be acknowledged. But correcting for his own limited views on gender, I believe it is a fair summary of the best aspirations of ours or of any other Unitarian Universalist congregation. My esteemed colleague Max Kutz, of blessed memory, said this about his own beloved band in the extreme north of New York State, as he finished comparing them to the grand menagerie of animals aboard Noah's Ark. "We are an odd lot here, because we are not a piety of saints, a congregation of conformists, or a house for the homogenization of human beings. We are not a museum for the collection of religious artifacts, but neither are we afraid of the past, its language, or its continuing mysteries. We are not so much a church with the answer as an opportunity to question, so that you may create answers. We are a center for learning, doubting, changing, and celebrating the times of our life and the times of the life we share. If you like our style, you're one of us, regardless of what label you write across your mind. If you find us wanting, we understand that too, because we are a failure too. We fail to be the best we want to be. You have to decide what we are to you, because it's the people who are this church, not the ark they travel in. Contemporary poet Rosemary Watola Tromer said that if we are alone together. I confess it was reading that line in a poem of hers that sparked the entirety of this sermon for me. Rosemary is fast threatening to become the Mary Oliver for this generation of Unitarian Universalist preachers. So I will give over my last few words to the closing lines from that same poem. Alone as we are, our small voices weave into the one big conversation. Our actions are essential to the one infinite story of what it is to be alive. When we feel alone, we belong to the grand communion of those who sometimes feel alone. We are the dust that hopes, a rising of dust, a thrill of dust, the dust that dances in the light with all other dust, the dust that makes the world.
I invite you now into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering, which this week goes in its entirety to our outreach offering recipient, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. The Black Lives of UU Organizing Collective, or BLUE, is a community of Black UUs who are committed to expanding the power and capacity of Black UUs by providing support, information, and opportunities of justice-making and liberation through our faith. There are multiple ways to share your gifts this morning. Baskets are now being passed here in the auditorium for cash or checks. You can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org, and you will see on the screen our text-to-give information. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life that we create together.
Each week we gather, carrying in our hearts the joys and losses of our days. We bring them here and share them, knowing they are held gently in care, in support, and in love. We light a candle as we share the joy and sorrow of Carolyn Zahn Waxler, as she remembers her sister, Barb Zahn, who passed away in June. Carolyn writes, "My joy is to have had my sister Barbara in my life for over 80 years. She succumbed to Alzheimer's, yet we still connected near the end, sharing humor and love. She was a precious being and a gift to the world, lifting up those around her." We light a candle of joy for those in our midst and in the larger world, celebrating Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, this past week, and observing the days of awe which follow. We wish you Shana Tova Umetucha, a good and a sweet New Year. One of us asked that we light a candle saying, "For my brother-in-law, no longer homeless. At 72, his first winter housed in 3 years." We light a candle for Henry, who shares gladly that his flag football team is doing well. And we light a candle sending strength to everyone starting a new chapter. We light one candle for all those who feel isolated by grief, by chronic pain, by mental illness, and all others who are alone and lonely. To you we extend our compassionate hearts. And finally, we light a candle for all that lives in our hearts, the joys, the losses, the sorrow and celebration, and for the love that remains through it all. I invite you now to turn with me both inward and outward, and as we join together in prayer and contemplation with these words from Cameron Trimble. Sacred presence, root us in belonging so deep we cannot fall alone. Strip away the illusion of separateness. Reteach us reverence. Awaken in us a sense of kinship so wide it undoes every wall. Where our culture has made us consumers, make us caretakers. Where our grief has made us numb, make us tender. And where despair whispers that nothing can change, remind us that the great turning always begins in the heart. May we move from me to we, not as a slogan, but as a sacred return to who we really are. Amen.
To rise one more time in body and or in spirit, so we can sing together our closing hymn in the gray hymnal. If you're using one, number 318, "We Would Be One," both verses.
That I
as drops of rain that find each other and become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea. So are we drawn together. So are we fortunate to find each other. So are we bound together on this shared passage towards an unknown ocean and eternity. Blessed be, go in peace. Please be at rest for the postlude.